fundamental analysis and technical analysis. Well, both of y'all gonna lose y'all money if you don't understand how to hedge.
Talking options. I like to talk options.
Bam, welcome back to Talking Options, where I gotta teach you how to trade options, giving you a better option than the options that you had before. Bars. Today we gotta talk about fundamental analysis and technical analysis, and I got a couple videos or articles that I want to show you as well. But you hear about fundamental analysis, you hear about technical analysis as a beginner trader, and you're thinking like, what am I getting myself into? Now, a lot of people, they don't even talk about fundamentals as a trader, which scares me a little bit because we do know that it is necessary and it is useful in many different ways. Now, again, most people, they choose either or. You don't really hear about a lot of people, at least on social media, that's talking about using both of them. Few people. But as far as technical analysis, oh, I can name a whole list of people who primarily trade on technicals. You got people like Akil Stokes, you have Blame Forex. And so what is fundamental analysis? What is technical analysis? We are analyzing the market in two different ways. And the way that they explain fundamental analysis is that now you are looking at the trends of both now and the past. So you're looking at economic news reports, you're looking at earnings announcements, you're looking at the weather. If you trade futures and commodities, you're looking at seasonality trends. You've heard me talk about that a lot. That falls under fundamental analysis. It's looking at what's happening in the present moment and then also look at what's happening in the past. BTW, the moon is in Libra right now, so this is a great time to be talking about balancing these two as a trader, especially in your financial endeavor. So listen up. And I know for my astrologers out there, I know you may be thinking, oh, she's wrong, the moon is in Capricorn, Sagittarius. Actually, anyways, fundamental and technical analysis. When you're talking about fundamentals, again, you're looking at what is I go by the 13 sign astrology. So there's actually a 13th sign in that natal chart called Ophiuchus, look it up. And so with that sign, things kind of change a little bit. So we're technically still in the moon of Libra. Quick announcement. It's a forecast that we're looking at for the economic industry overall. We're looking at a lot of the numbers on what's happening right now. Technical analysis, now you're looking at the trends in the market from the past. So what's happened in the past that then is going to tell me something about the price movement that I'm seeing right now. And so this article says here, the technician is a trader who buys and sells securities for short-term profit. He doesn't believe in buying and holding securities. He gives importance to total returns.
Oh, yeah.
So with futures commodities, you can trade futures, fundamentals and technicals, because now you have a reason to look at the fundamentals every single day. It's not as much uncertainty with the stocks where you can have a good earnings announcement and you can see some price movement, but then it quickly does something completely different because of something else that happened. You don't really have that as much, keyword as much uncertainty with futures commodities, especially when you start looking at seasonal trends and tying that with your technical analysis. And so with technical analysis, we're talking about indicators, oscillators, looking at those different averages in the stock and the underlying for the past 10, 15 years. So you'll see a lot of people use EMA, SMA on their charts. Now, personally, I do sometimes look at some of the moving averages, but again, I'm primarily using fundamental analysis to identify the trend. I use technical analysis to get in and out of my trades. So that's when I'll start to use Fibonacci retracement levels to then figure out, okay, when am I going to get into this crude oil trade? I do know what happened in the market. For example, Wednesday at 10:30, when that announcement comes out, okay, I know that supply was way less than expected. Now I can step over to my technicals and I can say, well, that Fibonacci looking like, are we hitting that 50, that 68 area, right? That's my sweet spot, that 50 to 68% level. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, you gotta know what I'm talking about by getting in that mini course, because it breaks it all down for you. All of this for like 27 bucks. And it really shouldn't be that, but the reason why I made it that is because we have so many people who are out there, giving information that you can Google for like thousands of dollars. So I'm just trying to spread the information. Now, if you take my time, I gotta take some money. So when you're talking about, learning one-on-one, if you do want to learn about that, of course you can DM me, but that of course takes more time out of me even trading the market, right? But for the course, go ahead and check that out. I'll have a mini link. I'll have a link in my bio to the mini course. Listen, it's not going to take a lot of your time, but it does have a lot of detailed information in there that can get you started trading right now. I walk you through opening up the platform. I walk you through all of that. And I also talk about fundamental and technical analysis as well. So the technical trader says that they believe that there's no real value in the stock. And I'm not sure how many technical traders agree with that, but according to him, stock prices depend on demand and supply versus the rational and irrational factors. And so when you're finding the trend for fundamental and price analysis, now this article says that there's no scope for finding the past trend. Now here's the thing. This is how I know that these people primarily trade stocks. They don't really trade commodities as much because they would know that, no, actually, you can look at fundamental analysis and see a past trend. It's called seasonality, right? So I can pull up a chart, gotta go private, You can pull up you can pull up the charts, and what you will see is a seasonal trend with crude oil. You'll see a seasonal trend with natural gas, and you can see that it's almost nearly repeating itself around certain months every year. So, I say this to people in person and they look at me like, okay, but it can't be that easy. But when you talk about natural gas, like even right now, right? It kind of got a little bit cold. It's starting to get a little cold around the country. But around the country, everyone's starting to feel that fall weather. Well, we can expect in due time that, natural gas prices are going to go up because more people are going to be using their heater. So it's simple things like that that can help you start analyzing trends. And then after you analyze the trends, of course, you get more specific than that. There's a lot more factors that at play with natural gas, especially around that time. But when you can talk about those different factors and then run to the charts and look at the technical analysis, that's when you see a win-win position. And here's the thing. I know a lot of people will say, well, do I have to stay in the trade for a very long time if I'm talking fundamentals? Maybe a week or so. I mean, especially if you want to hold the trend. When you want to get that full trend, you may want to stay in there for a couple of weeks, but you don't have to do that for every trade. We talk options. I give you many options.
Talking options. I like to talk options.
So, you may hold the position in crude oil or corn, but then you may trade crude oil on a weekly basis because they have weekly news. So, looking at the charts right now, so what I'm showing you here right now is the Thinkorswim platform, and I have seasonals, the seasonal chart that they have with corn, and then I also have it for the regular chart. And so what you're seeing on the left-hand side is the trend that we saw from July coming all the way down to September. And the reason I want to show you this is because it depicts exactly what I was talking about, that seasonal trend that we typically see every single year. So with corn specifically, that blue line that you're looking at is this year. So that's the reason why it looks exactly like the trend that we're seeing on the right hand side. Now the red line is showing a moving average. So you can see that it's less volatility, of course, because that's an average than what we saw this year, but the trend is pretty much the same. Like every July, we typically start to see prices go down all the way down to September, and then right around November time, we start to see prices pick back up until about mid-December. Those are what we call seasonal trends. This is what we call something that we can bet on every single year. Of course, there's going to be different volatility, but even though there's different volatility, the trend for the most part hasn't changed unless there's something big that happens. You know what I mean? So being that we know that the trends are going to typically stay the same, well, we can now use that as our edge. And I do have a video on how you can get this chart on your own trading platform if you use Thinkorswim, so check that out. I'll have the link in the bio as well. So this is natural gas. Again, we're expecting to see that December, October. So around this time, we're expecting So again, this is natural gas, and right around the end of October is when we start to see that reversal and we start to see, you know, that bullish trend with natural gas. And so that's what I'm waiting for with that. Now, I did mention that with corn, I won't be trading it as much, but I do want to show you what's expected to happen right around December, because I'll probably put it back on my watch list right mid-November time. So right now we're seeing that bullish trend that we usually see right around September to November, but then usually we see that bearish trend, and then you can see what we're seeing here with November right around turkey time. When all y'all eating them turkeys. I've been vegan for 3 years, so I won't be participating. But when everybody's gobbling it on up, I will be getting ready to get in this trade gobbler. Of course, I talk about options trading, but overall, you being financially literate, making the best decisions for yourself, very, very muito importante, right? Of course, I will see you on the other side. Until next time, make sure you're talking options. See you later.